folder and look for an error. Clashing sounds are inevitable when picking effectively at random, as I've been doing in the previous video. So before we get started, let's clear these tracks first. Let's delete these 4 clips, starting with the 1 and the 4 audio track. Left click on it, hit delete on your keyboard. Then move on over to the 3 audio track, left click on the clip there, hit delete. Move on over to 2 audio, hit delete, and to 1 audio, hit delete. There we go, we've just cleared all 4 tracks. Now, let me show you a better way to go about jamming. Now, one of the biggest secrets of sample-based production is using pre-matched collections of sounds that have been professionally produced and sound great together. Imagine not having to worry about whether they're going to work or not, and instead just being able to focus on being creative with your sounds. If you know where to look, there are thousands of brilliant pre-prepared sample packs containing absolutely everything you need to make professional productions. All the hundreds of loops and samples within these packs have been selected to work well with each other. Now, this is completely different to the sounds that come with Ableton, which, while they're useful, were never really designed to be used together in a single production. But don't worry, you won't even have to leave this page. I've got a free Pro sample pack just for you where everything works with everything else, so you're free to experiment. The link should appear at the bottom of this video, so just click on it to download. While it's downloading, I want you to pause this video and wait for it to finish. Once it's done, you can then resume this video. Now, if your download has completed, it's time to get started installing the sound pack in Ableton Live. Head on over to your downloads folder and look for ddjt dmf soundpack.zip and double click on it to unzip the contents. The same goes for you PC users. Just double click it to extract the contents of the zip file. Once it's finished extracting, you're going to have this folder called ddjt dmf soundpack, and I want you to move this to your desktop. So let's open up Live again, and then let's head on over to the browser and go to the bottom and left click on Add Folder. Now we're going to tell Live where we placed the sound pack, and I asked you to move it to the desktop. So left click on Desktop here in the sidebar, and then left click on the ddjt dmf sound pack folder. Click Open, and then now you're going to see the sound pack appear over here in Live's browser. And if you left click on it, you're going to find the contents of the pack. Now, if you're on a PC, head on over to Live's browser, go to Add Folder, and move on over to Desktop, and you're going to find ddjt. It's over here, left click on it. With the pack imported into Live, it's time to get jamming with these sounds. Start off by looking for the sound called CHA125 Drums 01 Stripped. It's over here, left click on it. Cool, now you're gonna notice that the clip automatically previews the track. To stop this, just press the space bar on your keyboard. There you go. Right, so let's drag this on over to the empty clip slot in One Audio. Left click on it and drag it on over. Here we go. Great. Now let's keep adding more sounds, and we're going to listen to all of them together soon as we're done adding them. The next sound to look for is CHA125 CM Synth Bass 42. This one here. Let's stop the preview by pressing spacebar, and let's drag this on over to the 2 audio track. There we go. Now the next sound is CHA125 Drums 17 Tops 8. It's this one here. Now left click on it and drag it on over to the 3 audio track. Finally, the last sound to add is CHA125 CM Synth ARP 02. Now left click and drag this on over to the 4 audio track. All right, great. We've got 4 sounds here. Now let's have a listen. Let's hit the play button here in the master track. Alright, now you see on the lower right that the master meter is in the red. That means that our sounds are too loud, so we have to turn them down. But before we adjust anything, it always helps to listen first and have a think as to what may be too loud. I think the bass in the 2 audio track is too loud. It's stepping on top of all the other tracks. So I'm gonna turn this down. I'm gonna left click and pull the fader down. Maybe I can pull it down just a little bit more. There. Alright, now this sounds a whole lot better. I can hear more of the other tracks now. Plus it also solves the red master meter problem. Now I want to hear more of this synth sound here in the 4 audio track. I think it's a little bit too soft, I can barely hear it. So I'm going to left click on the volume slider and I'm going to bring the volume up. Just so we can hear it a little bit more. There we go. Alright, cool. So let's stop the playback. Awesome, we've got all 4 sounds going, and unlike in the last video, it doesn't sound like a train wreck. Again, the secret is because all these sounds are meant to work well with each other. So with all these sounds going, you could think of this as the full-on or main section of the track. You've got drums, bass, and synths going, and that's great. But that's just one section of a song. What about the others? For example, an intro might sound something like this. I'm going to play back our little jam. And then I'm going to turn off a track. You can turn a track on or off by pressing the number button in a track. You can do that over here. Okay, cool. So this sounds like an intro. It's not as busy as the main section of a tune because I turned the 2 audio track off. How about making something like a breakdown? A breakdown is when it gets really quiet and the energy in a tune dips. Usually the drums exit the picture. Let's try making a breakdown, and we can do that by turning off the drums over here and the 1 audio track. So this now sounds like a breakdown. It's a lot quieter compared to the main bit and the intro, plus you don't hear much of the drums anymore, and the bass isn't there. Cool. Alright, let's stop this first. Now we could begin to sketch out a possible idea for how the track will go by turning bits on and off like this, but there are problems. First is we have to do it on the fly every single time. And second is we can only turn one thing on and off at a time with our mouse. So while that's fine if you're just turning a single track on or off, it can get a bit messy if you want to do that to 2 or more tracks simultaneously. So it's a good thing that Ableton has a solution, and that solution is called scenes. Think of a scene as a horizontal row of sounds that you can turn on and off at once. We've actually been working with scenes already. When we started all the clips by pressing the play button right under the master track, we launched scene 1. Let's fill in row 2 so you can see what I mean. I want you to watch closely and follow what I'm going to be doing here. First, I'm going to left click on the clip under the 1 audio track. And then I'm going to right click and choose copy. You can also press Command C or Control C if you're in a PC. Once I've copied it, I'm going to left click on the empty clip slot directly below it. And then I'll right click and choose Paste. You can also press Command V or Control V if you're in a PC. We've just copied and pasted our first sound on a new scene. I'm going to do the same for the clip under the 3 audio track. Why am I skipping the clip here in 2 audio? Well, it's because I want to create a scene that sounds like the intro. And if you remember earlier, our intro had the 2 audio track turned off. So that means I'm not going to put anything in this clip slot over here. So let's move on to the 3 audio track. I'm going to left click on the clip here. Then I'm going to right click. And I'm going to choose copy. Then I'm going to left click on the empty clip slot below it. I'm going to right click and choose paste. And finally, I'm going to do the same for the clip over here in the 4 audio track. Left click, click, copy, and then left click on the empty clip slot, right click, and then paste. Okay, that's it. So when you've finished copying and pasting, row 2 should look like this. So now we've got 2 rows of sound, or 2 scenes, and I can switch between them easily, like this. I'm going to play scene 1 by pressing the play button. And then I'm going to launch scene 2. Notice how the sounds start on time and stay in time, even as I switched between scene 1 and scene 2. You'll also notice that scene 2 started on the beat, even though I pressed it a little bit earlier than I was supposed to. I'm going to try switching back to scene 1 now. Again, notice how all the sounds started at the same time and on beat. Okay, let's stop playback first. Cool, so that sounded a bit like an intro and the main part of a song, right? Scene 1 is the main part because it has all the clips and it's a whole lot busier compared to scene 2, which sounded more like an intro because it was a bit more sparse since it was missing 1 clip. Let's add clips to another scene here, and in this scene, let's make a breakdown. Remember that a breakdown is a lot quieter compared to the other sections of a song. So let's create one by copying the clip in 3 audio. And then pasting the clip right below it in scene 3. Let's do the same for the clip in the 4 audio track. Pasting it over here in scene 3. There we go. Let's play this back. Cool. Nice and quiet, just like a breakdown. Alright, so we've got 3 scenes. And I'm going to show you just how powerful scenes are by having a little bit of a jam here. I'm going to start off with the intro here in scene 2. Then I'm going to go to the break in scene 3. And then I'll hit the main section over here in scene 1. Here goes. Nice, so I can sketch out the first minute or so of how I may want my track to go by triggering these song sections using scenes in Live. It's a bit like jamming with loops, but instead of turning sounds on and off, we're jamming with entire song sections or scenes. This is one of the reasons why DJs love to use Ableton. Give yourself a pat on the back. You've come a long way. That was an awesome stretch of progress. You now know how to use Live, you know where to get those pre-matched sounds, and you can now jam with scenes to get an idea of how you may want your song to go. We're doing really, really well, and we still have our third lesson to go. But for now, back to Phil, who's been patiently waiting in the studio. Phil?
Hey, it's not as hard as it looks, this production, Lark, is it? Are you starting to see it? Starting to get excited? Is the fog starting to clear? This is how it's done out there in the real world. But seriously, that's a big bit of training Joey's covered today. It's taken us a massive leap forward from even the first part of training. So please give us your comments. We really want to hear what you think of it. Please use the comments below. Now, once you get this bit nailed, as ever, the next bit kind of comes into view, and it's a big one. You know, what do I do when I've got all the sounds I want to use? What do I do when I've selected my palette, my parts, if you like? How am I meant to structure them? How am I meant to make it sound like a professional track with a beginning, a middle, and an end? How do I know where to put everything? And this is, you know, the number of people who've got half finished tracks where they've got a few sounds they like and they've got to this stage, but they can't get that extra stage to getting a finished MP3 or a finished WAV file that they can play in their DJ sets and show to other people. The number of people who are there, who are stuck there, it could even be you in the past, it's huge. How do you get past that and quickly get your finished track out there? Well, that's what Joey is going to reveal in part 3 of Dance Music Formula, which is coming up very soon. So until then, thanks for watching, and I'll leave you for now.